Hey, what is going on, Geminis? Butch Tarot here. I am going to do your 1 week read. It is a general read, so it may not resonate with everyone. It is for your Sun, Moon, Rising, and your Venus. For all you cross watchers, roles can be reversed. Always feel free to comment down below. I'm going to use the Wild Reflections Tarot. And with all that being said, let's get it. Universe, what message do we have for Geminis? What can we see for Geminis? Oh shit, Geminis. Let's get this. First thing, I'm picking up on this connection. I feel like it's existing. I feel like this is someone you already know. Now, I feel like with this person, I feel like I'm feeling two completely different energies. I'm feeling one, and I feel like you go from one side, one extreme to the next. This person, like, I feel like you have like this love-hate relationship. Like, there's moments when you couldn't love each other anymore. Then there's moments when it feels like that's the last person you want to see. And I feel like this like very chaotic energy with you and this person. I feel like you've both been betrayed before, whether it be you betrayed each other or you've been betrayed by another partner, a previous partner. But I feel like there's a lot of trust issues with you and this person, and it causes so much chaos. Like, just finding it hard to trust this person fully. And I don't really feel like it's through, for some of you, like I said, you may have betrayed each other. I feel like it's more of a before each other. I don't really feel like you betrayed each other, but for some of you, maybe that's what it is, or felt like you betrayed each other. And the lack of trust between the two of you, I get the sense that it's like there's this very defensive energy that you both portray, you both put out. It's like, we have the Three of Cups, so it's like you're best friends. But there's moments when it's like you're very guarded to each other. Like, you have this open communication where you can talk about anything, you can say anything to each other. You have that openness, but you're not saying everything to each other, if that makes sense. Like, great open communication, like I said, there's nothing that you can't talk about, but there's some things that you're not talking about. Now, I feel like there's so many similarities between the two of you, and it might actually be working against each other. I feel like you both share a passion for life. You both have that, that lust for life. I feel like great physical connection. Sometimes it feels like that's all it is, and that can get complicated. I feel like I said, there's so much going on between the two of you, and you can talk about anything, but I don't feel like you're talking about everything. You can, you're just not. And what really bugs the two of you, what really drives you crazy, and I'm saying this to both of you because I feel like it's very mutual. The potential that you have together is off the charts. Like, you know it, you feel it. There's so much that you guys can do. It's like you could conquer the world together. But then there's that defensive energy because we're not talking about the things that we need to talk about. We're not allowing each other to trust each other. This is very common for people that been betrayed by past partners. It's like, and not even like with this, I'm getting not even. I mean, that betrayal could go deeper than that a past romantic partner. I mean, it can go back to family. Once you've been betrayed by someone you care about, and that's what we got to focus on is someone you cared about betrayed you. For some people, maybe it's more than one. But every time that happens to us, it's like we double down. Our walls, we put another layer of walls up. And that's where this defensive energy comes in. I mean, I feel like you're both keeping things from each other. And I feel like that's where we're at. I mean, I don't feel like you're walking away from this, or nor do I feel like you should. I just feel like the relationship you have isn't the relationship that you could have with that Eight of Cups in reverse. I feel like there's more to this, and I feel like we have the family card, so I feel like this is someone that you already have. Like I said, there's already a connection here. This may be someone you live with, someone you already have children with. And yeah, I know some people are thinking, well, if you have children, you must trust each other. Trust doesn't work that way. It's the trust that I'm talking about here is different than that. We've all had those people in our life that we trust with certain things. Like, I can trust that you're probably not going to steal money from me, but I wouldn't let you date my sister. Do you know what I mean? There's different ways of trusting people. You can trust someone that they're probably not going to do this, but maybe you don't trust them in this area. And that's what I'm getting here. I mean, there's an incredible connection that you have with this person, and I feel like both of you allow your imaginations to get the best of you. I think this is a sign that we're heading into something real. And sometimes that can get scary as shit, especially if we've been hurt before. But we need to stop overthinking. I mean, first thing I'm getting is, with this is overthinking is locked you in a cage, and we got to stop overthinking. If we do that, we can allow ourselves some freedom. We can free ourselves from the chains with the Devil card, with the Four of Swords, overthinking the shit out of this. And I feel like you're both guilty of that. I feel like you're both overthinking this. You're both letting your imagination, like I said with the Moon card, letting your imagination get the best of you. Thinking about the negatives instead of the positives with that Five of Cups. I mean, there's so many great things that you have with this person, and you can have more great things with them. It's time for this new journey with this. I mean, it's not easy to take the leap. We have that Fool card, beginning of a new journey. I feel like you're ready for that next level with this person, and it's time to be honest with each other. It's time to be open, honest, and direct in a productive way. Sometimes we get that feeling that this person may not be that into us, or we get that feeling like this person wants different things than us, and we start to think that that's our intuition when we're really working off perception. Intuition and perception are very different. Perception is something that physically you see, see, hear, touch, feel. Touch and feel are probably the same thing. Intuition is more of a feeling, like a gut feeling you get. Is more internal, whereas perception is more external. And sometimes we confuse the two of them, and then not only do they collide and we confuse them, sometimes people are who we think they are because we think they are. Does that make sense? It's like that old saying, if you think you can, or you think you can't, or you think you can't, you're right. Basically what it means is kind of like laws of attraction. Like if you think that somebody's up to something and you allow yourself to think that without any kind of proof or evidence or any kind of real thing other than just thinking it, then you're never going to get past that. So it's perception versus intuition. And sometimes what we perceive is just what we see. It's not what's real. It's just how we see it. Like when you watch a movie and an actor or an actress plays the villain. So we perceive that person as a bad person. But they're not really. That's just the play. They could be the nicest person in the world. I've met plenty of people in my life, and you probably have too, that your first impression of that person or seeing that person from a distance, you may have thought something about them. And then when you got to know them, you realize that was not true at all. I mean, with this person, one thing is for sure, I feel like you have an amazing connection. I feel like it's very deep. And it has more depth. It has more layers that we haven't uncovered yet. But as long as we're not talking about the real things, as long as we're allowing past hurts to stop us from moving forward, we're not going to ever move forward. It's like swimming with an anchor. You're never going to get anywhere. Just tired. Like I said, an incredibly deep connection you have with this person, and it has so much more levels to go. I feel like a lot of self-preservation on both sides, but I feel like you have balance. You can find balance with this person, and I feel like you will find that balance. And like I said, I mean, I feel like this person makes you feel safe. And I feel like you need to make each other feel safe. Safe to be who you are and get what you want. Because I feel like you both want the same thing. I feel like you're both heading in the same direction. I just feel like we're not talking about the right things. And this type of connection, sometimes it could be one person holding back and then they're ready. And then the other person holds back. So the other person that was ready starts to hold back because, you know what I mean? And it's a fucking cycle. A relationship isn't a wheel. It shouldn't go round and round. It should always move forward. We got to break the wheel. Like I said, there is a love-hate type of energy in it. And I feel like you love them more than anyone, and they love you more than anyone. And I feel like there's times when you hate that you can't love them, and they hate that they can't openly love you the way they want to. But you can. Stop overthinking this shit. It's right there in front of you. But I do see it moving forward. I do see you finding balance in this situation. And like I said, I do feel like this new journey is about to begin. With this person, I mean, we have Aries, we have Sagittarius, we have Cancer and Pisces, we have Capricorn and Virgo. We have Gemini and Aquarius. Sometimes the only thing in our way of being happy, and I know this is going to sound ridiculous, but bear with me. Sometimes the only thing in the way of our happiness is our own self. Sometimes the most loneliest place to be is in your own head. And sometimes we get with people that we have a connection with, and we build this connection. It gets stronger and stronger. And then all of a sudden, when it gets real, we start even having flashbacks of past shit. And then it's like PTSD. But we can't allow past hurts to invade on our future. We can't give it that power. That's why, like, my grandmother always told me, if someone ever does you wrong, you should forgive them. Not for them, for you. Because if you don't forgive them, you're going to hold on to it. And eventually, one day down the road, if you're not forgiving anybody, you're holding on to it, and you got all this baggage that you don't need. And it gets very heavy, and it weighs you down. If somebody cheated on you or somebody abused you, yes, that shit is terrible. But us holding on to it just gives it more power in our life. We can't assume the next person. Now, not to say you shouldn't be looking for red flags. In a new relationship, it's not terrible to be open. Don't look. I said that wrong. Don't look for red flags, but be open to them when they come. Just like be open to the signs. There's signs all around us if we're willing to read them. And some of them are, some are red flags. You don't want to get in a situation where you put yourself in a vulnerable situation again. But like a good friend of mine, she was in an abusive relationship, and then she got out, and she really swore off men. Really just wasn't going to do it again because it was just too big of a risk. And I said, I understand, but don't completely close yourself off. I said, obviously you need to take a break, and you don't want to be put in that situation again, but don't ignore the red flags. And we talked about it, and she started thinking back. I said, think back when you first met him. Was there anything that you think now looking back would have been a red flag? And she mentioned a few things. And I said, now, okay, when you find someone new, make sure that you're aware. Make sure your eyes are open. Don't rush it. And she was single for years and years. I mean, like, she was single for a long time. She didn't date anybody. She kind of went from guy to guy. Nothing serious. Once it got serious, she was out. She never really, and a lot of people said a lot of things about her because I live in a small town, so there's a lot of rumors that people talk about, but they didn't live the life she lived. They didn't go through the shit she went through. So I understood. I don't condone it. I mean, I feel like I have my opinions and stuff, but she's still my friend. I didn't think anything poorly of her. I don't judge anybody. I wouldn't do it, but like I said, anyway, she ended up dating this guy, and she's been dating him for a while now, and I hope the best for her. He seems like a good guy, but you don't know. But like I said, I told her, pay attention to the signs and don't ignore the red flags. Basically, all you can do. And like I said to her, I said, you cutting your heart off from ever allowing anybody else in again is more detrimental to you than it is a benefit. You may find 3 more asshats. It's 3 more guys that don't treat you great. But then when you find that one, none of that shit, none of the rest is going to matter. And I'm like, when you find that one, don't hold them accountable for something somebody else did. A lot of people do that. I was actually, a friend of mine, she had a vlog. And in her vlog, she was talking about how she was with this guy that was really just not a bad guy. Just in the beginning, he wined and dined her, love bombed her. And then all of a sudden, when he got her, he just kind of slacked off. Didn't do shit for her. Didn't really show up. Didn't really go out of his way for her. Like, it was like he got her and that was it. And then they ended up breaking up. And she said, "Now I won't go for anybody that doesn't, a guy that's got a great job, a guy that's gonna take care of me. He's got his own place. He's got a nice car." And I'm like, these standards are so friggin' high. And she's like, "But that's what I want." I'm like, "But why?" And then, you know, I didn't talk to her. That was just me saying it. But, she was saying, and she was saying, "That's what I want." And then, I was thinking to myself, like, why? And it's like, I don't know, man. It's so crazy. You went from one extreme to another. You went from a guy that a lot of guys are like that to a guy that probably doesn't really exist. You ever watch shows or watch a podcast or whatever? Like, she's a friend of mine. But, to help her out, I wasn't really into like what I thought she was going to talk about. When I watched her podcast, I actually really enjoyed it, because it's insightful. I like seeing other people's perspectives, especially like women's perspectives on things and why women do the things they do, because I know why most men do the things they do. So I'm just trying to be enlightened. Anyway, be good. Take care. Stay safe.